So yeah, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing awesome. So thank you for joining me today. It's such a pleasure to have you on the show.
Of
Um,
course.
so Kate, you're playing Presley in Netflix movie A Week Away. How would you describe your character?
Right. So she's super sweet, super quirky, and she's kind of shy, but throughout the movie, you kind of see her
Yeah,
gain her confidence, and kind of a big part of that is is the song Good Enough.
yeah. And what I love about her and George is they are such, devoted, kind human beings, and they're also so insecure about themselves. And it really put me back in high school. And because I think they are reflecting a lot of teenagers who are right now suffering from, the pressure to be cool. And that's why I think this movie could make a good impact. So thank you for that.
Yeah, I mean I love that too. I think it's really cool with especially the characters Presley and George, how they're the quirky characters, but in like a lot of things, a lot of movies and shows we've seen before, those are kind of like the loser characters, not seen in the best light. But I love how A Week Away really shows like just that in a positive light of like, you know what, they're quirky, they maybe have a little bit of nerd to them, but like that's cool and that's beautiful.
Yeah, yeah. And A Week Away is a musical film that takes place in a summer camp, which is really cool. And we, as an audience, love a really good musical movie like this one. I mean, the dances, the music, this is so perfect. It's an hour and a half of entertaining, but for you, it was month of not only acting, but also singing and dancing. Considering all of that, what was the hardest thing about filming a musical, filming A Week Away?
Yeah, I mean, so I come from a background of musical theater, and so I was kind of used to like all of that, but like when you add the cameras in, that's a little different. It was a very different experience for me because I'd never been in a recording studio before, and so I had to learn how to adjust from like coming from musical theater to like being kind of in a recording studio singing musical theater, but with a more mix of pop. And so just kind of adjusting to that as well as the dance rehearsals were super tough for me. We were in like dance rehearsals for about 8 hours a day, which like is a lot for me. I'm not used to that, but like I got in really good shape during that time. So I mean, I was pretty happy about that. But I mean, and also I'd say that like working the camera angles and like making sure like the cameraman wasn't gonna run over you like during, one of our dances, like that was a learning experience, but overall, like it was a challenge, but like I had such a blast.
Yeah, and what was your favorite performance to shoot?
That's hard. There's like things I like about each performance, but I think like one of the coolest ones we got to do was dive because we got to like just like play in the water and stuff. And so I love visually how that looks. And I put some behind the scenes footage on my TikTok the other day, and it's such a cool like I think it's just such a cool scene because just all the waterworks and stuff.
Yeah, yeah. I wish I could play in a musical theme because it sounds like you had so much fun doing it. Uh, okay, real question. How do you get rid of the songs in your head? Because right now I can hear good enough over and over in my head because I mean this is such a powerful and positive
Yeah.
and
I mean, if you find out how to get them out of your head, let me know because they're constantly stuck in my head. Like my co-star Bailee, who plays Avery in it, we're on FaceTime with each other all the time. They're so stuck in our heads that I'll start singing a lyric and then just like out of just like habit, she'll finish it. That it's because it's just constantly playing in our heads, and it's a good soundtrack to have stuck in your head. I mean, they're good songs, but I mean, you guys have just heard these songs. I mean, it came out less than 2 weeks ago. We've had this stuck in our heads for a year and a half, so it's been a while.
yeah, those are such a great song. And I will post the link of a Week Away playlist on the bio of this interview. Which song from A Week Away speaks to you the most at this stage of your life?
I mean, it has to be good enough for me. I think something really cool about it is that I came into the movie just, I mean, really like quite honestly being scared. Like, am I good enough to like take on this role? Because this is my first movie. And I walked into this set of this like huge movie musical. And like for this to be your first movie, like, and this big of a role in this like kind of a production, it was a lot to take in.
Yeah.
And so I kind of had to learn how to gain my confidence and be like, you know what, like I am good enough to be here. And I mean, I got to give it up to my cast and our dancers and whole production team of just making me feel so special and loved and wanted there. So, I mean, I feel like also everyone struggles with the idea of like, am I enough in my life? Like with social media, like we're constantly comparing ourselves. And so I think it's just such a special song. And I've seen it touch so many people, and so many people have messaged me how much it means to them. And so I've cried so many times reading everyone's messages. It's so special.
Yeah, and you did such a wonderful job with the movie. And on this movie, we get to see all the good ingredients that makes a great musical movie. I mean, beautiful songs, love stories, awesome landscape. But for you, what makes A Week Away one of a kind?
I think it's so special because it's a movie about acceptance, acceptance of oneself, acceptance of your friends. Like with each character, like Will comes in with this story of like, are these people going to love me even though I have this like background and I'm not like them? And, you know, you see at the end of it, like, I don't want to give any spoilers, but like, you know, like he is loved. He has these group of friends, and same thing with like Presley and George, where like, oh my gosh, like am I going to be accepted for who I am? And everyone just loves each other for 100% who they are. And that's again, like I said before, it's such a thing that needs to be reminded in all of us these days with social media because
Yeah.
of all the comparison. And so I think we needed a movie to express to, I always say this, kids, tweens, teens, and adults, like, hey, you're deserving of acceptance and love, and you're deserving of a group of friends who accept you for who you are.
Yeah, I agree with that because you know it mixes a lot of not only teenagers but like you said, adults struggle at once, like grief, lack of confidence, lack of acceptance, pressure, and I think that's what makes it really special. So thank you, Kate. It's time for the last question. It's tradition here. I'm asking this one to all of the guests that I have the pleasure to have on the show because I love how it's always, you know, different answers that I get. So if we could switch the roles right now, so basically if you could interview yourself, what question would you ask?
Oh, that's hard. Oh, that's a
Love
good
that question.
question.
Always the same face.
Oh man, that's a good question. I think, what would I ask? I think I don't know. I think I'd ask, um, I think maybe like what piece of advice do you have to people who are struggling right now with maybe acceptance? And because I feel like right now, like I've seen kind of myself take on this role of people like messaging me and asking me like, how do I accept, you know, myself? And I think I'd say to that, just keep searching for a group of true friends, a group of people who love you unconditionally. And I think I mean that's been something so wonderful that I've had in my life for support. And um, just continue working on your confidence of loving yourself, because you were made to be exactly who you are, and that's enough, and that's wonderful, and that's incredible, and we need you in this world.